We try to hide what we're feeling. The truth always finds a way to slip through, often in the form of microexpressions. Microexpressions are involuntary split-second facial expressions that reveal a person's genuine emotions before they have a chance to suppress them. Unlike normal facial expressions, which can be controlled and manipulated, microexpressions happen so quickly, lately about 125th to 1/5 of a second, that most people aren't even on making them. However, if you train yourself to recognize these fleeting moments, you can gain a deep insight into what someone is truly feeling, regardless of what they say out loud. Why do microexpressions happen? Emotions are hardwired into our brains, and our faces are programmed to display them instinctively. The part of the brain responsible for emotions, the limbic system, reacts automatically, often before the rational part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, has time to intervene. This is why for a split second a person's true feelings can surface on their face before they consciously attempt to hide or alter them. For example, imagine a friend is feeling hurt but doesn't want to admit it. When you ask them, "Are you okay?" they may quickly say, "Yeah, I'm fine." But if you catch a brief flicker of sadness, maybe a slight downturn of the mouth or a flash of tension in the eyebrows, you'll know the truth before they even finish their sentence. The 7 universal microexpressions. Research shows that there are 7 universal microexpressions that appear across all cultures, regardless of language, upbringing, or background. These expressions are biologically ingrained in us and are recognized instinct. Happiness, characterized by a genuine smile. Dishon smile, where both the mouth and eyes are engaged. The eyes crinkle at the corners and the cheeks lift. Sadness, marked by drooping eyelids, a slight downturn of the mouth, and raised inner eyebrows. A person trying to hide sadness might momentarily press their lips together before forcing a smile. Anger, displayed through furrowed brows, tightened lips, and a tense jaw. A subtle micro-expression of anger might look like a quick clenching of the jaw before someone responds calmly. Surprise, eyes widen, eyebrows lift, and the mouth often drops open. If surprise is genuine, it lasts only a moment before transitioning into another expression. Fear, characterized by widened eyes, raised eyebrows, and tense lips. A flash of fear might appear before someone composes themselves in a stressful situation. Disgust, the upper lip curls, the nose wrinkles slightly, and the brows lower. If someone briefly shows disgust before agreeing with you, they may not truly mean it. Contempt, a subtle one-sided smirk or lip curl that indicates a feeling of superiority. Dismissal, if you see this flash across someone's face, they may not respect or agree with what's being said. How to spot microexpressions in real life? Because microexpressions happen so quickly, most people miss them. However, with practice, you can train yourself to notice these fleeting moments and become more attuned to what people are really feeling. Here are some key strategies. Observe the whole face. Don't just focus on someone's eyes, mouth. Watch the entire face. Often microexpressions appear as a combination of subtle muscle movements in different areas. Look for contradictions. If someone's words say one thing but their face flashes another emotion, trust the face. For example, if someone says, "I'm happy for you," but their face briefly shows contempt or sadness, their words may not be sincere. Watch for quick transitions. Genuine emotions usually flow naturally, but microexpressions happen in an instant before someone regains control of their tone. Speaks louder than words. Expression. Pay attention to these quick shifts. Observe in high-stakes situations. People tend to suppress emotions more in situations where they feel pressured, such as negotiation, interviews, or difficult conversations. These are prime opportunities to spot microexpressions. Train yourself with videos. A great way to practice recognizing microexpressions is by watching slow-down videos of real conversations or emotional reactions. Over time, you'll become better at catching them in real time. Why this skill is powerful. Being able to read microexpressions doesn't mean you should call people out on their hidden emotions, invade their privacy. Instead, it gives you deeper emotional intelligence, a better understanding of the people around you. When you can recognize the unspoken emotions in a room, you can respond with more empathy, adjust your approach, build stronger relationships. For example, if you're in a business meeting and notice a brief flash of skepticism on someone's face, you can address their concern before they even voice it. If you're talking to a loved one, notice a flicker of sadness, you can offer support even when they say they're fine. At its core, recognizing microexpressions isn't about manipulation, it's about connection. It's about seeing people for who they really are, even when they try to hide it, because sometimes the things we don't say are the things that matter most. We often focus so much on what people say that we forget to listen to how they say it. But the human voice carries layers of meaning that go far beyond words. A single sentence, "I'm fine," can have a dozen different meanings depending on the tone in which it's spoken. Tone of voice is one of the most powerful yet overlooked aspects of communication. And when you learn to recognize its subtleties, you can uncover emotions and tensions and even hidden truths that might otherwise go unnoticed. What is tone of voice? Tone of voice refers to the pitch, volume, speed, emotional quality of someone's speech. While words convey information, tone conveys emotion. It's what makes the difference between a joke and an insult: sincerity and sarcasm, confidence and uncertainty. Think about the last time you heard someone say something that didn't quite match their tone. Maybe they said, "That's great," but their voice was flat and lifeless, or they said, "I'm not mad," but their tone was sharp and clipped. In both cases, their words were sending one message, but their tone was telling you the truth. The four key aspects of tone: pitch. The highness or lowness of a person's voice can reveal their emotional state. Higher pitch often signals excitement, nervousness, even deception, while a lower pitch can indicate confidence, seriousness, or even sadness. Volume: how loudly or softly someone speaks can tell you how they feel. A loud voice might indicate enthusiasm, frustration, aggression, while a quiet voice may signal hesitation, insecurity, or fear. Speed. The pace of speech can be just as revealing as the words themselves. Rapid speech might suggest nervousness, excitement, urgency, whereas slow speech can indicate deep thought, sadness, or even deception. Inflection, emphasis. The way someone stresses certain words can completely change the meaning of a sentence. Compare: I didn't say you stole the money, someone else did. I didn't say you stole the money, someone else is guilty. I didn't say you stole the money, maybe you just borrowed it. Even though words stay the same, the meaning shifts based on which words are emphasized. This is why tone of voice can be more powerful than the words themselves. How tone exposes hidden emotions. People often try to control their words, but their tone betrays them. Here are some common tonal cues that reveal a person's underlying emotion. Sarcasm. A mismatch between words and tone is a classic indicator of sarcasm. If someone says, "Oh, that's just fantastic," mirroring the secret to connection, but their voice is flat or mocking, they don't actually think it's fantastic at all. Defensiveness. When someone suddenly raises their voice or speaks in a clipped, abrupt manner, they may be feeling defensive. For example, if you ask, "Why were you late?" and they respond with, "I was busy," okay, in an irritated tone, their defensiveness suggests there's more of the story: uncertainty or anxiety, hesitation, a rising inflection at the end of sentences, making statements sound like questions, or frequent filler words, can indicate doubt, nervousness, or dishonesty. Frustration or anger. A voice that suddenly becomes louder, harsher, or more forceful is often a sign of frustration or anger. Even when words are neutral, an aggressive tone can reveal strong emotions beneath the surface. Esnat or disappointment. A slower pace, a quieter volume, or a voice that sounds heavy or breathy often signals sadness. Even when someone says, "I'm fine," a soft, weary tone tells you they're anything but fine. Excitement and enthusiasm. When someone is genuinely happy or passionate, their tone becomes more animated. Their pitch may rise slightly, their words come faster. Their voice carries a natural energy. Reading tone in different situations. Tone of voice is context dependent. The same tone can mean different things depending on the situation. The person's usual way of speaking. Here's how to use tone reading in different interactions. In conversations, if someone's tone suddenly shifts mid-conversation, pay attention. A drop in volume might mean discomfort, while a quick in pace could signal anxiety. In arguments, people of that sound calm when they're angry, but if their voice is too controlled, too steady, or slow, it might indicate they're suppressing strong emotions. In business or negotiations, a confident, steady tone with clear emphasis suggests credibility. If someone's voice wavers, speeds up when discussing terms, they may not be as certain as they claim. In relationships, when someone says it's fine but their tone is cold or distant, it's probably not fine. Tone of voice is often a bigger indicator of relationship tension than words themselves. The power of mirroring tone of voice is not just something to analyze, it's also something you can use to build stronger connections. A powerful technique is mirroring, where you subtly match the tone and rhythm of the person you're speaking to. For example, if someone is speaking softly and emotionally, responding with a calm and gentle tone makes them feel understood. If someone is excited and animated, matching their energy creates a sense of connection. If someone is tense and defensive, lowering your tone and speaking slowly can help escalate the situation. Mirroring works because it signals to the other person that you're on the same emotional wavelength. It creates rapport and makes people feel heard, even without explicitly saying anything. Have you ever noticed that when two people are deeply engaged in conversation, they often start to move alike? They may lean forward at the same time, cross their legs in the same direction, or even nod and smile and sync. This isn't a coincidence, it's called mirroring, and it's one of the most powerful yet subconscious ways humans connect with each other. Mirroring is the natural tendency to subtly mimic the body language, speech patterns, or facial expressions of the person we're interacting with. It's a nonverbal way of saying, "I see you, I understand you, we are in sync." And while it happens instinctively, understanding and Using mirroring consciously can help build stronger relationships, establish trust, and even influence others without them ever realizing it. Why do we mirror others? Mirroring is deeply rooted in human biology. It comes from a fundamental social instinct, the need to belong. Our brains are wired to seek connection. One of the ways we create that connection is by physically. What's not said is just as important, aligning ourselves with the people we feel comfortable with. Neuroscientists believe that mirror neurons, specialized brain cells that activate when we observe someone else's actions, are responsible for this behavior. When we see someone smile, for example, our own mirror neurons fire, making us feel inclined to smile back. This is why emotions like laughter, excitement, and even stress can be contagious. Our brains are constantly syncing up with those around us. Mirroring helps build trust. People feel more comfortable and at ease with those who are loyal. Colleagues mirror each other, tend to have closer connections, improve communication. Mirroring signals that you are engaged and listening, making conversations flow more smoothly. Influence others. People, therapists, even politicians use mirroring to create rapport and subtly guide interactions. Types of mirroring. Mirroring doesn't just happen in one way, it can occur in multiple forms, each revealing different aspects of connection. 1. Body language mirroring. This is the most common, noticeable form of mirroring. When two people are engaged in a good conversation, their posture, gestures, and movements often start to synchronize. For example, if one person crosses their legs, the other might unconsciously do the same. If one leans in slightly, the other follows. If one nods while listening, the other might start nodding too. This physical alignment creates a sense of harmony, connection, making the interaction feel more natural and engaging. 2. Facial expression mirroring. We naturally mimic the facial expressions of the people around us, often without even realizing it. If someone smiles at you, you're likely to smile back. If they furrow their brows and concern, you may instinctively do the same. Facial mirroring plays a key role in empathy. When we mirror someone's expressions, we actually start to feel the emotion they're displaying, which helps us better understand what they're going through. This why empathetic people tend to mirror more often. Often they're emotionally tuned into others. 3. Vocal mirroring. Tone, speech patterns. Mirroring doesn't just happen physically, it also occurs in speech patterns, tone of voice, and even the words people use. For example, if someone speaks in a slow, calm tone, you may naturally slow your own speech down to match. If they use specific phrases, slang, you might find yourself adopting them without thinking. If they laugh a certain way, your laugh may start to sound similar over time. Vocal mirroring is particularly useful in building rapport in professional settings. Salespeople, customer service representatives, and therapists often match the tone and speed of their clients to make them feel more comfortable. 4. Energy level mirroring. Have you ever walked into a room full of energetic, excited people, felt your own energy rise, or conversely found yourself lowering your voice in a quiet, serious environment? That's energy mirroring in action. We instinctively adjust our emotional energy to match those around us, whether it's excitement, calmness, tension. This is why charismatic people who project strong positive energy can quickly influence the mood of an entire room. How to use mirroring to build stronger connections while mirroring happens naturally. Being intentional about it can make you a better communicator and strengthen your relationships. Here's how you can use it effectively. 1. Observe first, then mirror subtly. Mirroring should feel natural, unforced. If you immediately start copying someone's every move, it will come across as awkward or even manipulative. Instead, by observing their body language, tone, energy level, then gradually reflect some of their behaviors in a subtle way to match their energy and tone. If someone is excited and animated, mirroring their enthusiasm makes the conversation feel more engaging. If they're quiet and reserved, lowering your tone and slowing your speech makes them feel more at ease. For example, if a friend is sharing exciting news and speaking quickly with a lot of hand gestures, responding with a similar level of energy makes them feel heard. If a colleague is discussing something serious in a calm, steady tone, mirroring that tone shows you respect the gravity of the situation. 3. Use mirroring to improve difficult conversations. Mirroring can be especially useful in tense situations. If context is everything, someone is upset or defensive, lowering your voice, softening your posture, and speaking calmly can help de-escalate the situation. People often subconsciously adjust their behavior to match the person they're speaking with. So if you stay calm, they are more likely to do the same. 4. Pay attention to timing. Good mirroring isn't just about what you mimic, but when you do it. A slight delay makes mirroring feel organic, while instant imitation can feel unnatural. For example, if someone leans forward while speaking, waiting a few seconds before subtly leaning in as well makes the interaction feel smoother. 5. Combine mirroring with active listening. Mirroring is most effective when paired with active listening, truly paying attention, nodding in agreement, and responding thoughtfully. People don't just want to be heard, they want to feel understood. When you mirror both their words and emotions, you create a sense of deep connection and trust. How mirroring strengthens relationships. Mirroring plays a crucial role in bonding. And attraction studies show that friends and romantic partners tend to mirror each other more frequently, often without realizing it. People who engage in mirroring report feeling more connected, understood, valued in their relationships. In dating, subtle mirroring increases likability and attraction as it signals mutual interest and compatibility. In professional settings, mirroring builds trust, credibility. Whether in negotiations, interviews, or leadership roles, mirroring can help create stronger connections and make others feel more at ease in your presence. Final thoughts: the power of mirroring. Mirroring isn't about manipulation, it's about connection. It's about creating an unspoken rhythm in conversations, making people feel comfortable, understood, aligned with you. When used genuinely, mirroring has the power to strengthen relationships, improve communication, and even influence outcomes in subtle but meaningful ways. So the next time you're in a conversation, pay attention, observe how people move, speak, and express themselves. And if you want to build a deeper connection, I'm mirroring, because sometimes the best way to understand someone isn't through words, but through the silent language of connection. We tend to think of communication as the words we say, the carefully chosen sentences, the rehearsed explanations, the well-crafted responses, but the truth is what we don't say often carries just as much weight, if not more. Silence, pauses, hesitation. The things left unspoken create just as much meaning as spoken words. Words, sometimes they even reveal more truth than words ever could. In fact, some of the most powerful conversations aren't filled with endless talking. They are filled with the spaces between words, the moments where emotions exist beyond language, and the subtle signals that tell us everything we need to know. If you've ever had a conversation where someone said, "I'm fine," but you could feel deep in your gut that they were anything but fine, then you already understand the power of unspoken communication, the space between words, how silence speaks volumes. We often fear silence in conversation. We rush to fill it with words as if silence is uncomfortable or awkward. In reality, silence is one of the most powerful tools in human interaction. Think about some of the most emotionally charged moments in life. When someone receives devastating news, when two people in love lock eyes, when a friend is struggling to find the right words to say. In these moments, words are often inadequate. Silence becomes the language of emotion. There are different types of silence, and each one carries a different meaning. Reflective silence. This is the kind of silence that happens when someone is processing their thoughts. If you ask someone a deep question, they take a moment before answering. That pause is meaningful. It shows they are thinking, weighing their words, and considering their emotions. Tense silence. Sometimes silence isn't peaceful, it's heavy. It's the pause before an argument erupts, the hesitation when someone is holding back what they really want to say, the stillness when a room is filled with unspoken tension. Comfortable silence. The best relationships, whether friendships, romantic partnerships, or deep bonds, are the ones where silence isn't awkward. Sitting in silence with someone, feeling at ease, is a sign of true connection. Intentional silence. This is the kind of silence used as a communication strategy. How to apply this in real life. When someone pauses before answering a tough question, they are giving their words more weight. When a leader or speaker pauses mid-sentence, they are making the audience lean in and listen more closely. In all these cases, silence is not empty, it's full of meaning. Hesitation, pauses, and what they reveal. The way someone speaks, their pauses, hesitations, and unfinished sentences can tell you a lot about what they're truly feeling. For example, if someone hesitates before answering a direct question, they may be uncertain, nervous, or even hiding something. If someone starts a sentence then stops abruptly, they may be holding something back, struggling to find the right words. If someone repeats the same phrase before answering, like "I mean, it's just that," well, you know they might be stalling for time or feeling emotionally conflicted. In conversations, especially serious ones, listen ones, these moments of hesitation, what people don't say, what they hold back, often contains the truth they aren't ready to admit out loud. Unspoken emotions. When the body speaks instead. Even when words are absent, our bodies are still communicating. Non-verbal cues, facial expressions, posture, gestures, and even breathing patterns often reveal more than words ever could. A forced smile may say, "I'm fine," but tight lips and tense shoulders say, "I'm holding something in." Arms crossed tightly may say, "I'm listening," but in reality they may mean, "I feel defensive," or closed off. Avoiding eye contact when answering a question might suggest discomfort or dishonesty. Sighing deeply before responding may indicate exhaustion, frustration, sadness before a single word is spoken. If you want to truly understand someone, don't just listen to their words, watch how they move, breathe, react. People might choose their words carefully, but their bodies often tell the unfiltered truth. The power of unfinished thoughts. Sometimes people start to say something, then stop. They may begin a sentence, then change direction. These unfinished thoughts are clues to deeper emotions. Imagine a conversation where someone says, "I was going to say something, but never mind, it's not a big deal. I mean, well, actually forget it. It's stupid." What do these phrases tell us? They tell us there's something beneath the surface. Most of the time people don't stop mid-sentence because they actually have nothing to say. They stop Because they're afraid of how their words will be received, they feel vulnerable and don't want to open up. They are unsure if they should reveal something in these moments. It's important to pay attention. If someone shuts down a thought, they often need a safe space to continue. Sometimes all it takes is a gentle "I really want to hear what you were going to say." Reading between the lines, what's left unsaid. People rarely say exactly what they mean. They soften their words, leave out key details, or speak in vague terms. The challenge is learning how to read between the lines and hear the message behind the message. For example, when someone says it's fine, but their tone is cold and distant, they probably mean it's not fine, but I don't want to talk about it. When someone says "I don't care, do whatever you want" with a sharp tone, they might actually mean "I do care, but I don't want to admit it." When someone says "I guess that makes sense," but hesitates, they may actually mean "I don't fully agree, but I don't want to argue." People often soften their words because conclusion. The art of truly seeing people they don't want to create conflict, feel uncomfortable expressing emotions directly, are unsure of how the other person will react. The key is to listen to what's being implied, not just what's being said. How to respond to what's not said. Now that we understand how powerful unspoken communication is, how do we respond to it? Give space for silence. Don't rush to fill every quiet moment. Sometimes silence gives people the courage to say what they really mean. Acknowledge hesitation. If you notice someone hesitating, gently encourage them. You can tell me I'm listening. Watch for non-verbal cues. As someone's body language contradicts their words, don't be afraid to ask deeper questions. Are you sure everything's okay? Validate unspoken emotions. Sometimes people won't say what they feel, but you can still acknowledge it. "I can tell this is really hard for you." Final thoughts. The power of the unspoken words are just one part of communication. The silences, the pauses, the unfinished thoughts. The subtle body language speak just as loudly, if not louder. If you want to truly understand people, don't just listen to what they say, listen to what they don't say, because in the spaces between words, in the pauses, in hesitations, in the silences, that's where the truth lies. Let's talk about something we all wish we were better at: understanding people, not just hearing what they say, but really knowing what's going on beneath the surface. Because if we could do that, we'd make better decisions. We'd know who to trust, when to speak up, and when to step back. Now, let me be clear, this is not about manipulation, it's not about tricks or deception, it's about connection, about learning to see people as they truly are in a world where so much is hidden behind polite smiles, carefully chosen words. So how do we do it? How do we read people without them? Knowing first, body language is the first language. Before we ever learn to talk, we learn to move. We cross our arms. When we feel defensive, we lean in. When we're engaged, we fidget. When we're uncomfortable, most of the time people aren't even aware they're doing it, but if you pay attention, their bodies will tell you the truth before their words do. Second, micro expressions reveal the truth. The human face is a traitor. No matter how controlled someone is, emotions slip out. Quick, almost invisible flashes. A flicker of sadness before they say "I'm fine." A brief curl of the lip before they say "I'm happy for you." These moments are like a lightning strike in a dark room. If you're watching, you'll see it. Then there's tone. The way someone speaks is just as important as what they say. When someone hesitates before answering, when their voice suddenly drops or speeds up, it's a signal we're wired to listen to words. But the real meaning is often hiding in the pauses. Here's something fascinating: mirroring. When we feel comfortable with someone, we naturally mimic their posture, gestures, even their breathing. But when someone suddenly stops mirroring you, that's a sign. Maybe they're uncomfortable, maybe they disagree with you, but don't want to say it out loud. Either way, something has shifted. This what's not said is just as important as what is. If you ask someone how they feel and they take a long pause before answering, or they suddenly get vague, pay attention. Silence is rarely body language. The first language, empty, it's full of unspoken emotions. Long before we learn to speak, we communicate with our bodies. A baby doesn't need words to express hunger, discomfort, joy. It reaches, it cries, it giggles. This instinct never leaves us. As adults, we continue to express ourselves through non-verbal cues, often without realizing it. Body language is our first and most honest form of communication. It speaks before we do, and it rarely lies. Think about the last time you were in a conversation where someone's words didn't quite match their posture. Maybe they said "I'm fine," but their arms were tightly crossed, their shoulders were hunched, and there their gaze was fixed on the floor. The words told you one thing, but their body told you another. If you ignored the body language, you missed the real message. The way we stand, move, and gesture can reveal wealth of emotions: confidence, anxiety, frustration, attraction, or even deception. When someone is nervous, they might fidget, tap their fingers, or avoid eye contact. When they're excited or engaged, they lean in, widen their eyes, and use open-handed gestures. If they're feeling defensive or closed off, they might cross their arms, turn their body away, or clench their jaw. Even small shifts in body language can signal major emotional changes. Imagine you're speaking to a friend and at the start of the conversation they're facing you, mirroring your posture and nodding as you talk, but then as you bring up a certain topic their body stiffens. They lean slightly away, or they suddenly check their phone. That's a signal something about what you just said made them uncomfortable. They may not verbalize it, but their body already has one of the most telling signs in body language is posture. People who feel confident and in control naturally take up more space. They stand tall, shoulders back, chin lifted. This is often referred to as power posing. On the flip side, when someone feels uncertain, intimidated, anxious, they shrink, hunch, shoulders, cross arms or hands stuffed into pockets. Another key body language indicator is eye contact. Eyes are often called the windows to the soul. For good reason. When someone is engaged, their eye contact is steady but natural. When they're uncomfortable or hiding something, they may avoid eye contact, blink, blinked, or look away at key moments. Overly intense eye contact can be a tactic of deception or dominance. It's a way of trying too hard to convince or intimidate. And then there's gesturing, how people use their hands while speaking. Open, expressive hand gestures typically signal honesty, confidence, while hidden or fidgety hands may indicate nervousness or deception. Someone who keeps their hands in their pockets or behind their back may be subconsciously hiding something, whether it's literal or emotional. The key to reading body language effectively is pattern recognition. One single action doesn't always mean something on its own. Just because someone crosses their arms doesn't always mean they're defensive. It could simply mean they're cold. But when you observe a cluster of behaviors, a stiff posture, a tight jaw, a lack of eye contact, all happening together, that's when you get a clearer picture of what's really going on at the core of it. All body language is about authenticity. Words be rehearsed, but our bodies respond instinctively. If you want to understand people, listen with your eyes as much as your ears. Because while words can deceive, the body almost always tells the truth. Our faces are incredibly expressive, capable of conveying a vast range of emotions in just a fraction of a second. Sometimes we consciously control our expressions, masking our true feelings behind a polite smile or a neutral demeanor. But no matter how well microexpressions, the hidden truth